Okay peeps, part 2, street or track front coilover conversion. Alright, the first thing we're going to do here, which is the most critical part of this whole installation, is we've got to drill 3 holes for this supplied top plate. And the way we're going to do that is you need to have your shock tower brace installed, but loosely. And then what you want to do here is this plate that's supplied, you want to get it lined up with the brace and then lined up here on the top of the shock tower evenly all around, left to right, front to back. You got to spend some time and get this correct, and you can see how I have mine. Even spaces on both sides, front to back, everything lines up. And to make it easier, I just use 2 bolts here of the correct size in each one, and then I taped it into position so it can't move. He gives you this punch in the kit, and the way we're going to start off is I'm going to go ahead, pull that out, I'm going to pop the punch in there, make a mark, and drill through with an 1/8 inch bit. Alright, we'll come back after I get that done. Okay guys, so I went ahead, drilled an 1/8 inch pilot hole after I showed you where I made the punch mark, and then I drilled through. It's a 3/8 bit for this bolt right here. And then I went ahead and just made sure everything is still lined up. You still may have to wiggle some stuff, and this is where I deviate. I went ahead and put the mount on and clamped it in. I have one bolt, the one that I drilled, and I have it clamped so I make sure that it fits perfectly flush, it's in the correct position, and everything's cool. And if you notice how I put that paper there, that's so all the metal shavings don't drop into the shock tower. Good idea to do that. So now I'm all set. I verified again, I stuck a bolt in here, everything's lined up, I have this tight, I have the mount tight. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drill the other 2 holes. 1, 2. Alrighty, and you can do it either way. You can do it from the top or you can do it from the bottom. I just like doing it from the bottom because that's exactly where the mount goes. So I'll make those other 2 holes and then we'll come back and show you. Okay peeps, so we drilled the other 2 holes, got everything bolted up now, so you can see how that fits. Everything's clamped down, bolted. There's the top for the strut mount, and the rest is all pretty straightforward stuff, man. It's just, you know, you bolt in the upper arm, you bolt in the lower arm, bolt in the strut rod, torque everything with a torque wrench to his specs in the instructions. I mean, his instructions are really good. So, you know, it's always nice to have a visual, but that's it, man. Very, very straightforward stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead now and we'll get the rest of it going. I'm going to put the lower arm in next. Okay, so I've got the lower arm ready to go in. And one thing worth mentioning here, I'm using his lower arm camber kit. Definitely worthwhile, because look, that's what you get there. With all different kinds of settings, your arm will never move. So even if you're not doing this installation, this is something you should have on your car. Because the stock setup, to put it mildly, sucks. Nice piece right there. Look at that bad boy. Beauty. Alright, we're going to get this in now. Okay peeps, got the lower arm in. You can see the way that camber kit works. Just locks it right in to whatever setting you want. There's a bunch of different settings. You can set it wherever you want. So that baby's in. Now we're going to go ahead and put this upper control arm in. And again, straightforward stuff here, man. You just take it, boom, 2 bolts, and And that baby's in. Alright, let me get those bolts on and then we'll come back. Get the strut rod in next. Okay, got the upper arm in. Now we're going to go ahead and do the strut rod. Now the strut rod comes with it's 3 pieces. The back part, the middle bar, and the front part. And you got to put that together. You can just follow his instructions. But one thing you want to try and do is match the distance here at the back and here at the front, so that when you turn this rod, it's even when you go to do your adjustment. And you want to try and match this, you know, close. You want to rough it into your old one, so that this way here, at least, you're pretty close before you go for an alignment. So we're going to go ahead and get this in. There you go. Okay, we got the front strut in, and you can see the orientation of that. So basically, everything's all set now, ready to put the strut in. Got everything all set up, and so I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to put that strut in. There we go. Piece of cake. Okay, peeps, there you go. All I need to do now is put the spindle in, put the brakes in, and we're going to let this bad boy down. Really, it's a simple piece of cake. Now, one thing when you're putting the spindle in, which is mentioned in the instructions, the rubber cap for the ball joint is orientated in a certain way. There's a notch, and that's got to point towards the inside of the car. So you got to make sure. I don't know if you can see. I think that's the notch. So it's got to be turned around, pointed to the inside of the car. Alright, we're going to get the spindle in, and then we'll come on back and show you. Okay, peeps, I just want to clarify on that boot, that's the notch. That's the arrow. So that part has to face to the inside of the car, because that's the way the grease is going to come out. Alrighty, there you go. Okay, peeps, there you go. Got everything all set. All that's left to do now, just pop the rotor on, my brakes, and then we're going to let this bad boy down. Now, one thing I want you to note is that they give you some spacers when you're putting the castle nuts on, so that you can line up your cotter pins. So that spacer goes there, and then there's a washer up there, and that gives you perfect alignment. Okay? Okay, guys, there you have it. Everything put together. All I need to do is take my torque wrench, and he's got all the specs in the instructions, what every thing should be torqued to, so that's what I'm going to do next. I already did that on the other side. I'm going to put my wheels on, let her down, get this fender back on, and show you what she looks like. Everything done. Hope you like the vid. Alright, peeps, there it is. She's down on the ground. Finished the installation of the streeter track from Coil-over, and I can tell already this baby's sitting pretty, man. Once that motor's in there, it's going to be real close to perfect of where I want it to sit. She'll have a nice rake in the front, sitting real good. There you go. We're going to be popping some 18s on here. And you know, these cars can be made to handle really, really well. It's not rocket science. Just takes good components and a good combination of the components. Take your time, and these babies will rock it, man, hardcore. And she's got a real good stance. I'm positive that once that engine's in there, I'm not going to have to adjust too much.